Welcome to the Everything Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be recapping the latest Zygon Century box set from Big Finish titled Transformation. But before I do, I'm recording this episode on the 8th of May 2026. Zygon Century Transformation, if I remember correctly, was released on the 23rd of April 2026. So it's about 2 weeks afterwards, because it's not just one episode like the 9th or 13th Doctor Adventures or Dark Gallifrey is, then it does take me longer to listen to it. So as with most of my Big Finish recaps, I'm going to read what we know, show the trailer, and then let you know my thoughts. So we start off with the synopsis for Zygon Century Transformation. The Zygons have come to claim the Earth, and this time they're playing the long game. For the Black Cobra have a plan that will take exactly 100 years to come to fruition. From the streets of St. Petersburg to the plains of Death Valley, the Zygon Century continues. We start off with 1922, The Black Cobra, written by Jonathan Barnes. From Munich to Dublin to an asylum in Dartmoor, the Zygons have agents everywhere, and their plans are growing in scope and ambition. Can Herbert Scott, that long-incarcerated investigator of the occult, do anything to stop them? Is his rescuer, the German Harris Els Lang, all that she seems? And why are the Black Cobra so interested in a mysterious carnival travelling the wilder reaches of the Cornish coast? We then have 1968, An Incident in Death Valley, written by Laura Mooney and Stuart Pringle. Fleeing her brutal human captors and are hiding from Black Cobra, the Zygon Vavoran arrives at a rundown diner in the bowels of Death Valley. There she finds a friend in Julie, a young waitress, and a town terrorized by a ruthless cult. But just who is their mysterious leader, the Archon, and could he really hold the key to Vavoran's liberation and revenge? We then finish off the set with 1974, The Caldwell Restitution, written by Ken Bentley. Agent Caldwell has been posted by the British Embassy in Moscow in order to investigate a rising star of the Communist Party, but Caldwell is a shadow of his former self, plagued by nightmares of the past and misty visions of the future. As the Third Doctor enters the fray, human and Zygon plots collide, and Caldwell's vision threaten to endanger the world. Though neither man can remember the other, can the Doctor and Caldwell put a stop to Zygon Century once and for all? Zygon Century Transformation was recorded on the 29th of April as well as the 9th and 10th of September 2025. We've got a few quotes here. So producer Jonathan S. Powell said, Zygon Century is back, and the invasion's gone international after the success of Infiltration, which was released in January 2025, and I actually recapped Zygon Century Infiltration each episode, and it is a separate episode, so if you haven't already, go and check those out. Jonathan Barnes and I were keen to push ourselves further and show our band of Zygons on the offensive. In these 3 exciting new episodes, we're taking you across the 20th century, from Russia to Dublin to Death Valley, and reveal more of the Black Cobra's simmering master plan. I'm immensely proud of Zygon Century. It's Doctor Who, but it's also proper character drama and goes places the main series can't. There are many more stories still to be told, and we hope you enjoy these next 3. This time around, we're welcoming not 1 but 2 iconic Doctor Who characters in the Zygon Century. What does the Master want in the Black Cobra, and what on earth is the Third Doctor doing in Soviet Russia? Schemes are unravelling, destinies are converging, and all roads lead to the world's end, but is humanity ready? Script editor and writer Jonathan Barnes added, I was very keen to come back to our 3 main characters for the second box set. So we have Herbert Scott, the occult investigator, Vavoran, the most sympathetic Zygon in the entire series, and Agent Caldwell. Not all of these people will survive to the end of the series, and there's going to be many unexpected developments in their stories going forward. One of the greatest advantages of writing a Doctor Who spin-off is that we don't have the Doctor for great swashes of these stories, so we have protagonists whose destiny is unclear that's exciting to work with. Actor Jonathan Rigby describes his character Herbert Scott with this. In the previous volume, he was in his prime as a rather ever-cubical, slightly dodgy occult investigator. Now he's been banged up in the asylum, and we meet him again 21 years later. Because of his experience with the Zygons, he's unchanged physically. But of course, he's had a very distressing 21 years. This disorientation of suddenly being back in the world is a fantastic part of the story. Charlie Russell, who returns as the Zygon Vavorian, said, I'm so happy to see her development. She's seen the worst of the human race, the really sharp end of that stick, and it's hardened her and made her less trusting, but also still vulnerable. And it was exciting to meet the Master. He brings out the fact that she is so angry and full of desire for vengeance. On the Third Doctor's Zygon Century debut, Tim Treloar said, the Zygons have infiltrated the Soviet Union's nuclear power capacity, and so the Doctor's there to give a hand. There's very much James Bond vibe going on. I love the fact that it's set in the 1970s at the height of the Cold War. Caldwell and the Doctor are a bit of a double act on disagreeable terms. So, Zygon Century Transformation stars Eric Roberts as the Master, the TV movie Master, that is, as well as Charlie Russell as Vorin and Tim Trelaw as the Doctor. There is loads of other cast, but that's the main cast. And the cover art was done by Sean Longmore. The director was Jonathan S. Powell. The executive producers were Jay Stay Gallery and Nicholas Briggs. The music was done by Andy Hardwick. The producer was also Jonathan S. Powell, as he was one of the script editors along with Jonathan Barnes. The sound design was done by Ben Ottridge. The writers were Jonathan Barnes, Laura Mooney, Stuart Pringle and Ken Bentley. The theme music was done by Andy Hardwick. The senior producer was John Ainsworth. And the total runtime for this set was 229 minutes, so closer to 4 hours than 3. But before I spoil the events of Zygon Century Transformation, here's the trailer.
All across the great continent of Europe, and even, I fancy, beyond it, certain forces are working ceaselessly against us.
From Big Finish Productions.
Their plan has many edges, many tendrils. Here are 3 of them.
The Worlds of Doctor Who. Zygon Century. Transformation.
Roll up, the carnival's come to town.
It was like the voice of a machine, sir. A machine that was screaming. The Zygon's calling. Scarasan.
Now I'm here in Death Valley, in the Valley of the Shadow of Death.
Somebody help me! Save me!
Human minds are weak. A pride here, a synaptic storm there.
You toy with them like they're things.
To us, they are.
Good heavens, where are we?
St. Petersburg.
There's a secret Zygon hideout in the middle of St. Petersburg.
The human ally known as the Doctor is interfering with our plans.
Doctor, you say? The definite article.
That's right.
Does ring a bell. Something to do with an island somewhere.
Deja vu, old man.
Listen carefully, Doctor. Your mind is no longer your own. Your mind belongs to the Black Candle.
Big Finish. For the love of stories.
That was the trailer for Zygon Century Transformation. So as usual, I will go down each episode. So we start off with 1922, The Black Cobra, written by Jonathan Barnes. This is the story with Herbert Scott. There's no other familiar characters in this one. So this is Zygon Century is very weird because it kind of is, each episode's slightly standalone because it's set in a year, but all the years eventually match up to whatever the Black Cobra are up to. So it's interesting to see that. I can't actually remember much about this episode for some odd reason. But I did remember enjoying it. Then we go to 1968, An Incident in Death Valley, written by Laura Mooney and Stuart Pringle. Now this is the episode that features Eric Roberts as the TV movie Master. So this one is thankfully slightly less dark than the middle story and Vavora's last appearance in Zygon Century, because that was a dark listen. Now, yeah, I think I don't think I could listen to that all the way through, and sometimes I do like to re-listen to some big finishes. That is certainly not what I plan to go to re-listen to anytime soon, because it is really dark. And if you have either listened to it or checked out my recap of the episode, you know what I'm talking about. But as I said, this episode features Eric Roberts' Master, and we kind of learned that maybe the Master is involved with the Zygons with their plan, somewhat by a couple of the lines that Eric Roberts' Master says, and maybe it's not him. So maybe in the third box set, which hopefully we get, we might see a different incarnation of the Master. Speaking of different incarnations, though, we then go to 1974, The Caldwell Restitution by Ken Bentley, which features Agent Caldwell, and the Third Doctor. Obviously, Agent Caldwell met the Second Doctor in the final story in the first Zygon Century box set, but that is the Second Doctor post his regeneration. So the Third Doctor doesn't remember him, so it gets there's a little bit of that, and a little bit of the Third Doctor because he's stranded on Earth. That's why he's in Russia, because he can't go anywhere else apart from Earth. So it's that's why. And it'd be interesting to see if we do get any more incarnations of the Doctor if Zygon Century continues. Like, you might think, oh, this is definitely a more positive recap than your one for Zygon Century Infiltration. Well, that's because it's slightly less dark, and I kind of knew what I was getting in for this time. I think the first time round I was so used to like Doctor Who, the adventures, with it being nice and comedic and funny and maybe slightly serious at some parts, but there was quite a bit of humour, whereas in that first set there was none of that at all. So I think maybe they've sliced off a few of the edges and maybe had a look at it, because obviously this was it was starting to be recorded a couple of months after Zygon Century Infiltration was released, and they would have got feedback from it, I'm sure. So with that, that's kind of it for this episode. So let me know what you thought of Zygon Century Transformation if you listened to it, my recap if you didn't, and without further ado, I will see you in a future episode of the podcast. See you then. Goodbye.